what did my professor used to say? You don't punish the people who are on time. So we are now streaming live on YouTube. And I want to welcome everyone who's joining us, those of you who are joining us streaming on YouTube, and everyone who is here in the room. It's wonderful to have you. Welcome to all of our guests who are joining us and all of the regulars who are joining us. And if you are a regular who is joining us, you've probably heard what I'm about to say many, many times. So I'll try and make it as entertaining as possible. But I just want to go over a couple of Zoom etiquette covenants, agreements that we have. If at all possible, please turn on your camera. Look at the camera, have you, right now we're set on grid view. If you set on speaker view, you'll be able to see who is speaking, who is leading will be highlighted, but to the extent that you have your camera on and you are expressing yourself fully and singing along, I promise you I'll be looking at however many boxes I can see, and it really does help uplift us all if we see you singing along, even if you are muted, which is unfortunately one of the things that we need to do on Zoom. Those of you who are joining us on YouTube, you don't have to worry about being muted, and you can sing as loud as you want in your homes and in your living rooms. The other thing, and I always say it the same way, and it's probably just getting boring, is I am now going to encourage you to chat during services, to use the chat function to talk to one another. Please, if you use the chat function to talk to me, I ask your forgiveness in advance. There's no way, I won't see it. So as I mentioned to Steve earlier, if you want to get in touch with me, go ahead and email me, hey Dustin, because I won't see it in the chat and it won't be preserved for later. But use it to chat with one another and engage in the service. And of course, our Zoom master will be putting all of the readings, the read aloud and the readings that we ask you to join into the chat. So just lip sync. I can't just lip sync. All right, I'm gonna stop looking at the chat. I'm gonna try to look at the camera as much as possible so it doesn't look like I'm sleeping. And we're gonna start right now with a nigun, which is a word without song. Oh, sorry, a song without words, a melody without words. But it indeed is a nigun that has words, and I will try to sing them with the words later. So let's get started. Yai dai 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 dai, yai da dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai da dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai. Yai da dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai da dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai da dai 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 dai. Now I would like to invite Sharon, who is going to lead us in lighting the candles. The blessing for the lighting of the candles is on page 5, and I invite anyone who is lighting candles now to light them at home. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We'll continue on page 13 with Shalom Aleichem, welcoming the Sabbath, welcoming the angels, and then we'll go into breakout rooms and we'll have a chance to welcome each other. Page 13. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Boachem l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Barchuni l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Seirchem l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Now we've welcomed the Shabbat angels, and I think in about a few seconds, we'll move into breakout rooms and welcome one another and wish each other Shabbat Shalom. All right, see you all in a few minutes. There we go. Okay. It's fantastic. It's very jarring when we come back and the host has to ask me to unmute myself, but I think I'm unmuted now. So we're going to move to page 27. I just thought it would be, there we go, page 26 and 27, where I thought it would be nice to share just a little piece of one of my favorite Psalms. And we were just talking about in our breakout room about things that were happy, things we were happy about this week, things that gave us joy, a good moment. And you can go ahead and share if you want in the chat some of the things that you were discussing. And this is a part of a psalm that talks about the heavens rejoicing and the earth having glee, being gleeful, and the ocean resounding in all of its fullness. And it's just it's a very loud part of a psalm where the psalmist just kind of gets very loud about how the whole world is rejoicing. Yismachu hashamayim. Yismachu hashamayim. Yismachu hashamayim. Yismachu hashamayim. V'tagel haaretz. Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, umlo, Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, Yeram hayam, umlo, Yismachu hashamayim, Yismachu hashamayim, Yismachu hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Please join me now for Lecha Dodi on page 41. Also, the words will be in the chat. And I'm going to do this funny thing where I slide my chair back and stand up for that third verse. But I am facing west already. And if my head gets cut off, it's a whole propping up the computer thing that I haven't mastered. So don't mind me. I'll try to back up far enough. I'm going to be small, but so that you don't just, see me from here down. All right. So this is my favorite melody, and it's the one that always comes out. So clap hands, join in, sing along. Lecha dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad. Ishmianu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet ve'litila. Hey, lecha dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Yaminu smol tifrotzi v'et Adonai taritzi al yarish ben partzi v'nismacha v'nagila. Hey, lecha dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala. Gam besimcha uvetzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala. Hey, lecha dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. We move now to the Psalm for Shabbat, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat, page 49. And here's where the nigun comes back. This one's a little bit hard for me to sing sitting down. Join with me. If I see your mouths moving, it'll make it less intimidating for me. No. Mizmor, Mizmor Shir, Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Mizmor, Mizmor Shir, Shir Liyom HaShabbat. Lai dai 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 dai. 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 Mizmor Shir, Shir Liyom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir, Shir Liyom HaShabbat. There are English words too. The whole world is waiting to sing a song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing a song of Shabbat. The whole world is waiting to sing a song of Shabbat. The whole world is waiting to sing a song of Shabbat. I'm going to turn to the bottom of page 51, one of my favorite verses in Psalms, because it also spells out my name. Tzadik Katamar. Tzadik Katamar Yifrach, Ke'erez Balavanon Yiskeh, Shetulim Bevet Adonai, Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu. Od Yenuvun Beseva, Deshenim Verananim Yehu, Lehagid Ki Yashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Avlatabo. Let's take a pause right now and pause in the service to take a few minutes to reflect and to think about where we are in this week, where we are in this moment. And I'll tell you a little bit about where I am in this moment. So where I am is still kind of pinching myself. It's hard to believe that in less than 3 weeks ago, the very beginning of 2021, we were beginning also to read in the Torah reading cycle, the book of Exodus. We began with Parshat Shmot, the Torah portion of Shmot, Exodus, where we meet Moses, who encounters God, who speaks to him from within a bush that burns but is not consumed. And when God tells Moses of his mission, why he's calling out to Moses from this bush, Moses responds Moses is a man of few words. And a lot of times when he prays and when he talks to God, he uses as few words as possible. And he does it again here. God says, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to Egypt. You're going to talk to Pharaoh. You're going to do all these signs and wonders that I'm going to show you. And you're going to convince Pharaoh. And you're going to help me. You're going to redeem the people from Egypt. You're going to redeem them from slavery. And Moses says, Mi anochi ke'elech el Pharaoh. Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? And then later, it's a week later in the Torah reading, but it's still part of that same kind of conversation. He goes back and the people don't listen to him. So in Parshat Va'era, the second portion of 2021 in the Torah reading cycle, Moses raises up another protest to God. And this is what he says. Hein b'nei Yisrael lo sham'u elai. Here, the people of Israel didn't listen to me. Ve'ech yishma'eni Pharaoh. How will Pharaoh listen to me? The people that my people, your people, they didn't listen to me. Pharaoh's not going to listen to me. Va'ani aral sfatayim. I'm going to go with this translation. I am a man of impeded speech. I have a speech impediment. There's a reason they're not listening to me. This is not working. So if we look at sort of Moses' response to God in its totality, I can totally appreciate it. Why me? I didn't ask for this. The people won't listen to me. They didn't listen to me. Pharaoh certainly won't listen to me. And I'm not such a great public speaker. And it raises the question, wouldn't God and the people of Israel be better served by sending a confident, charismatic leader without a speech impediment? I'm not the only one who wonders, why did God choose Moses? All of the things that Moses is saying to God, they make sense. What was God thinking? The great scholar Rabbeinu Nissim, who lived in 14th century Spain, says this: had Moses been an eloquent and gifted speaker, there would always be room for skeptics to claim that the Jewish people accepted the Torah, its truths, and its mandates only as a result of Moses's charisma. After all, a glib, captivating speaker can convince people just about anything. Now, it was actually a challenge to listen to Moses, so it became eminently clear that we did not accept the Torah because we were wowed by Moses. We accepted the Torah because we were wowed by God, by God's Torah. So I was reading this commentary, I couldn't make this stuff up, on January 4th. I was reading this commentary because I was preparing to teach, a lunch and learn or something, I don't know, Shabbat morning. And as I'm reading Rabbeinu Nissim's words about eloquent and gifted speakers and room for skeptics and why did God choose Moses, this guy with a speech impediment, I felt myself being transported back in time. And I'm sitting on my sofa watching the Democratic National Convention, listening to a young person with a stutter pay tribute to then candidate, now President Biden. And I am sobbing. I don't know about if you all saw that video and that part of the convention, but I'm in a puddle. I'm in a puddle on my sofa sobbing. And that's what I was thinking about when I was reading this particular commentary of Rabbeinu Nissim. So that was January 4th, I think it was Monday. And Tuesday, January 5th, I finally break my fast. And I start watching the news. I'm watching the election returns on television. I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed, my news feed and Facebook. I've even got Twitter also open in another window. I'm refreshing the news feed on my phone. I think I had CNN and the Washington Post and maybe the New York Times on there. And all the things I hadn't been doing for 4 years. I stayed up way too late. Tuesday spills into Wednesday. I'm no longer able to keep my eyes open to read the numbers on the screen, and I surrendered to sleep. When I went to bed early in the morning on Wednesday, I was still not certain about what the morning news would bring. And I went to bed with my favorite line of my favorite psalm in my mind, trusting the words of the psalmist, Ba'erev yalin bechi v'laboker rina. Tears may linger at nightfall, but joy arrives with the dawn. By mid-morning, I am shouting with joy, real Rina. And by late afternoon, I am sinking back into despair. This really made me think. The importance of charisma is cited often when we're discussing leadership, especially during times of crisis and struggle. And you might think that charisma and eloquence are critically important traits for a leader to lead an organization or a movement or a nation successfully. And while these traits can certainly benefit leaders, Rabbeinu Nissim warns that charisma alone can be quite dangerous. To convince people of just about anything, he says, right or wrong, especially during a crisis, can have unintended consequences, some detrimental and some potentially fatal. So this week's Parsha, this week's Torah portion, Bo. We learn about darkness, the plague of darkness, choshech afela, a dismal darkness that pervades the homes of the Egyptians for 3 days. And then immediately following the darkness comes the threat of the final plague, the death of the firstborn, which casts a pall over the land and the people of Egypt, while simultaneously kindling a light for the people of Israel, the promise of freedom from suffering, freedom to leave behind the tyrant Pharaoh. And here, God tells Moses to tell the people of Israel to request from the Egyptian people gifts of gold and silver. And Moses does not hesitate. And the people listen to his words and follow his lead. And the Egyptian people help the people of Israel. And we're told in this week's Parsha, Ha'ish Moshe Gadol Ma'od, the man of Moses is great, Be'eretz Mitzrayim, in the land of Egypt. Be'enei avdei Pharaoh ve'enei ha'am, in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants and in the eyes of the people. What does it take to be a great person in the eyes of other people? So this is what I think we learn. We know from our story that Moses was a reluctant leader who lacked the power of persuasive argument. But perhaps it was precisely Moses's slow and sometimes stumbling speech and his persistence and his resolve to deliver God's message despite that made him great in the eyes of others. We learn from Moses that one who does not possess a silver tongue can be an effective leader. And we learn from Pharaoh and many other leaders throughout history that charismatic leaders can be tyrannical and they can imperil others with their persuasive and powerful words. So this week, we celebrate Moses, whose halting words moved a people, and we pray that we too will be moved. Me afela le'ora, from darkness to light, umi bechi larina, from weeping to rejoicing. Shabbat shalom. If you are able and desire, we're going to continue with Baruch Hu on page 57, and please rise. I'm going to roll back. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Page 59. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Page 63. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha havta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shochmenu uvkumenu nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu v'yorech yameinu u'vahem nehege yomam v'layla yomam v'layla. V'avarcha tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 65. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha, u'v'chol nafshecha, u'v'chol me'otecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ela, asher anochi mitzavecha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha vaderech, uveshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot ben enecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Please join me now for Michamocha, the blessing after the Shema, on page 79. Umalchuto baratzon kiblu alehem, Moshe u'Miriam uvnei Yisrael lecha anu shira, b'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nohora tehilot oseh feleh. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, boker yam lifnei Moshe, zeli anu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar, kifad Adonai et Yaakov, ugalo miyad chazak mimenu, baruch ata Adonai, gal Yisrael. Please join me on the bottom of page 83. I didn't get a volunteer to read, but we'll read together when fears multiply. And the words I think are going to go into the chat as well. A prayer for peace. When fears multiply and danger threatens, when sickness comes, when death confronts us, it is God's blessing of shalom that sustains us and upholds us, lightening our burden, dispelling our worry, restoring our strength, renewing our hope, reviving us. And then at the bottom of page 81 in the Hebrew, but also at the bottom of the top paragraph in the transliteration on page 83. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Now we turn ahead to page 87 for the Chatzi Kaddish. Again, if it is your custom, and if you are comfortable and able to stand, please rise, and we will go straight from the Chatzi Kaddish into the silent Amida or private meditation. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, v'yimeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbam mevorach, leolam leomei homaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, Shmei Kedusha Barichu, Le'ela, Mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram be'alma, v'yimeru, amen. The Amida begins on page 91, or please take some time for your own silent meditation. This time, I invite anyone who has names that they want to add into the chat of people that are in need of healing. We'll do the Mishaberach for healing. And in just a moment, I will read the CBH list. And in another moment, we'll put the words for the Debbie Friedman Mishaberach for healing in the chat, and I'll invite you to sing along with me. I'm just going to minimize my screen so that I can read the names from the CBH list. Richard Adler, Marilyn Pankin, Nancy Smith, Maureen Kelmanson, Richard Cohen, Jenny Williams Cohen, Mario Eugene Hudson II, Lois Birch, Alyssa Gilbert, Mitch Gilbert, Ron Anderson, Andrea Finn, and Bev Corfin, Uli Sprick, Ellie Emmerich Hart, Chai and Billy Nash, Claude Baruch, Jordan and Jamie Schwartz, Tesla Queen, Janice Blackman, Bethann Budicant, Bava Java, Nancy Davis, Alessandra Ramaldis, Megan Radant, Janice Roger, John White, Pilar Barclay, the Beitan Snook family, the Levin family, the Kolbs Reckelman family, Grady Floyd Adair, Eyal Schechter, Audrey Galix, Faith Ressler, Dolly Wax, Esther Myers, Joel Bartfield, Mary Lopez, Ellen Leary, and I add to that Bill Monahan, Marion Monahan, Aharon Ben Yocheved, Leah Bat Mendel, Zohara Aviva Bat Rachel, and Marlene Diamond. Mishaberach Avotenu, Makor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu, Makor habracha lavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Refuah shlema to everyone on our list and all of the people that you put in the chat. I think that we have announcements now, and I've been told that Tom Downs is doing the announcements. Thank you, Tom. Oh.
No, tomorrow.
Oh, Tom Downs is doing the announcements tomorrow. Haley, you've misled me. Is someone else doing the announcements? It's me. Amy Price is doing the announcements. Awesome. I think you can unmute yourself. No?
Sorry, it wouldn't allow me to unmute myself at first. So hold on one second. Let me get my family under wraps here. Guys! Okay, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome, and we're glad you're here with us at Beit Chavarim this Friday night for Shabbat. We are so glad to host so many friends from Atlanta and around the country for our virtual services. You're invited to our offerings in the coming week. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., we have Shabbat morning services. And then on Monday, January 25th, there will be a lunch and learn at noon. The next CBH board meeting is Tuesday, January 26th at 5:30. The 10-minute menu continues every evening except Fridays at 7:45, and Mindful Moments meets every weekday morning at 8:45. Next week's services, we will have our virtual Shabbat Shirah. Shabbat Shirah happens to be like my favorite service of the year. I know it's not going to be the same, all of us in person, but I'm very excited for that, and it should not be missed. We will gather at 6:45, and the service will start at 7. Your Jewish Bridge is offering a host of classes starting soon. Want to learn how to read Hebrew? Want to learn about the Jewish holidays? Did you not have a bar bat mitzvah and interested in it? Did you convert or grow up not practicing and want to continue your Jewish education? If you have answered yes to any of those, check your Beit Mail or your Jewish Bridge website for all the classes and offerings that are there. As a reminder, the new album for the CBH Chorus, Band and Strings, is now available for your purchase. Please visit the website for the fabulous album. And I will tell you, in our house, that album tends to be on repeat at times. It's really amazing. Be sure to save the date for CBH's Oh So Gay Purim Cabaret, Friday, February 26th at 7. Also sign up to create a Purim basket for the Purim raffle. Details are in Beit Mail. We've made a few changes to our website navigation. You can now find a direct link to our streaming services on top of the navigation menu in our website. We also have a whole section dedicated to COVID resources and response. This is where you can find links to all kinds of different things around COVID. Visit the website at congregationbeithavarim.org. As a reminder, if you need to contact CBH staff, please use their email. They're not using social media or as often as their email. So please use email if you need to reach the staff. As always, for a full view of our offerings, please visit the CBH calendar on our website. There's lots of new events and services and things happening, so please check that out there. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. I saw in the chat, but I can't do two things at once. There's a lot in the chat, and someone is asking me to put the link in the chat. It's yourjewishbridge.com/register or registration. But if maybe Haley will be able to grab that from the Your Jewish Bridge website. And that's where you'll find all of the courses and descriptions, and you can actually sign up online for the classes. So, but I didn't shut down the registration for the Hebrew class. I happen to know there's really only one space in there. So if there's a big run on the Hebrew class, we'll have to split it into two because I'm not going to go shut down the registration. We don't want to keep anyone out, but we want to keep the group small enough so that people can participate and learn those letters. Okay, we'll continue with Aleinu on page 121. And again, if it is your custom, if you're comfortable and in a place where you can stand, please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shenatan lanu Torat emet, v'chaye olam nata betochenu, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu notes shamayim ve'oser haaretz, u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim mima'al, u'shchinatu zo, b'govei meromim. We continue silently to the bottom of the next page, 125. HaKatuv b'Toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Now I'd like to invite Linda and Margaret to lead us in the prayer for the end of hiding, which will be going into the chat in a second. And Haley is going to find you. It's Linda Weiskopf.
To unmute us. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, great.
Thanks for
But I
leading.
don't see the.
There it is. As
LGBTQ Jews, we are aware of the loss of integrity we suffer due to pressures of the larger society. We often feel forced into a dishonest presentation of ourselves to ourselves and others. The LGBTQ individuals who feel they must pretend to be something they are not, the Jews who feel they must be alienated from their tradition and community to win larger acceptance. Both are victims of a theft of identity and integrity committed by the sexual, gender-identifying, or religious majority. Creator of the universe, we ask that our hiding draw to an end, that we no longer feel we have to pretend, to promise falsely, to renounce ourselves, and that our fullest creative expression as Jews and as lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, and queer people be among the blessings you bestow upon us. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. We've almost reached the conclusion of our service, and we've arrived at the Mourner's Kaddish, which is on page 131. The transliteration is on page 130. And I'd like to invite anyone who is in a period of ritual mourning, is observing a yahrzeit, or is keeping someone in mind at this time to go ahead and put their names in the chat. Just going to give you all a second to do that. And then if you are joining me in the recitation of Kaddish Yatom, I invite you, if it is your custom, to please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'yalma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon u'vyamechon u'vchaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabba Mivorach Leolam Omeo Maya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei Dekudesha B'richu. Le'ela Mikol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbechata V'nechemata, Da'amiram B'yalma V'yimru, Amen. Yehe Shloma Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. And if you'll stay with me on that page for a moment, I think this might be when it gets chaotic. We're going to kind of go back now. I'm going to just go to grid view so I can see all of you, or gallery view. I would like to note that it was, I think last week in the Hebrew calendar, it was the yahrzeit of Debbie Friedman. And I have a lot of Debbie Friedman tunes that I'm going to do tomorrow morning. So if you want to join us tomorrow, join me and Susan Levy, you can hear those tomorrow. But I never get to hear her Oseh Shalom anymore. And it was just a staple in my childhood. And so even though it's kind of hard to sing without a guitar, I hope that you'll join me. And I hope that you know it. And if you want, you can wave. All right, I don't know. Are you allowed to unmute yourselves? And can it get noisy? Or at least if you're very expressive and singing along, maybe Haley will be able to spotlight you. And so the friends that are still joining us on YouTube will also see some of that enthusiasm if you have it going on. All right, here's how it goes. Oseh shalom bimromav, yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Shabbat shalom. Have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbat and a restorative Shabbat. Take care, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Damien. I see you there.
That's the cook, Rabbi.
Have a good week.
Ruchim to you. Thank you. Shabbat shalom in Mississippi
Have a good
and
night.
Arizona.
Bye-bye.
Out on Georgia. Yay.